Hey, I want to tell you that with this fried chicken recipe, you will never want to buy fried chicken from outside again. The look and crispiness are just like the ones from restaurants, but the taste is on another level because outside chicken doesn't really have much flavor. This fried chicken is incredibly delicious, especially with this amazing tartar sauce that tastes heavenly. فقط صداشو گوش بدید. ببینید. حالا گوش بدید صدای خوردنو. معرکه است. Alright, let's start by making the tartar sauce. You will need mayonnaise, mustard, hot sauce, parsley, dried dill, pickles, garlic, onion, fresh lemon juice, onion powder, thyme powder, salt, black pepper. Mix all the ingredients together and let it rest in the fridge for an hour. Next, cut the chicken fillets into strips. You can cut them any way you like, but make sure to have the breasts first so your pieces aren't too thick. Now for marinating the chicken, you will need the following spices. Save half of these spices for later to mix with the flour. 1 tablespoon salt, 1 tablespoon paprika, half of a teaspoon black pepper, half of a teaspoon red pepper, 1 tablespoon onion powder, half of a teaspoon ginger powder, half of a teaspoon biber, it's optional, half of a teaspoon cumin, 1 tablespoon garlic powder. Mix half of these spices with 2 tablespoons of mustard and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice and then combine with the chicken. If you have time, let it marinate in the fridge for a day. If not, let it rest for at least 2 hours. Add the other half of the spices to the flour and mix well. For making the fried chicken, you need very cold water. This is one of the secrets to getting that crispy coating. First, coat the chicken in the flour mixture by rotating it about 10 times, then dip it in the ice water for 6 seconds. Take it out and let the excess water drip off, then coat it again in the flour mixture, rotate it. You can repeat this step twice. Look at how beautiful flour scale on it. Now put our perfectly crispy fried chicken pieces into hot oil. Fry each pieces for 7 or 8 minutes in hot oil. The oil should cover the chicken pieces slightly. You can fry several pieces together, just like I did. Since I have a lot of chicken pieces, I use a lot of oil. When the chicken turns a bit brown on the outside, it's done. Just look at how amazing and perfect it turned out. You can tell just by looking at it how great it is. Now place your fried chicken on a paper towel to drain the excess oil. Your crispy fried chicken is ready. Enjoy! Come and try a delicious and amazing restaurant-style garlic steak pizza. Juicy steak with the aroma of garlic on a crispy hot crust that you won't be able to resist. Just take a close look at the pizza's texture. The steak melts in your mouth and the Italian crust is absolutely fantastic. I promise if you follow my recipe exactly, you will never set foot in a restaurant for this pizza again. Just look at how thin it is. First, we need to make the special garlic sauce for the garlic steak pizza. 30 grams of basil, 60 grams of parsley, 4 cloves of garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper, 1.5 teaspoon of meat extract, 100 grams of olive oil, cold water if needed. Put all the ingredients in a mixer and food processor and blend until smooth. If the sauce gets too thick, add a few tablespoons of water. The quantities I'm giving you are enough for 2 or 3 30-centimeter pizzas. And you can store the sauce in the freezer for up to a month. This sauce should reach this consistency, which is good and does not need any water. Now let the sauce rest in the fridge for an hour. That's how you make restaurant-style garlic sauce for a steak pizza. Now let's move on to the ingredients needed to marinate the steak. This marinade will make your steak taste amazing. 250 grams of cold butter, 1.5 tablespoon of meat extract, 1.5 tablespoon of paprika, 1.5 tablespoon of black pepper, 5 grams of salt, 10 grams of balsamic vinegar, 50 grams of tomato, 1 clove of garlic, 1.5 medium onion, 120 grams of vegetable oil. Put all the ingredients except the oil into a food processor and blend until smooth. Gradually add the oil so it gets fully incorporated in the sauce. The final consistency should be thin and the color should be. Then let it sit in the fridge for an hour. Tomato-like. Now slice the frozen beef fillet thinly as shown. Brush the bottom of the dish with the sauce and layer the steak slices. Brush more sauce on the top of the steaks, cover with plastic wrap, and brush more sauce on the wrap. Add another layer of steak. Then refrigerate the steaks for 6 hours. Ingredients for making Italian dough: 500 grams of flour, 250 grams of cold water, 20 grams of oil, 1/4 tablespoon of dry yeast, 1/5 tablespoon of baking powder, 5 grams of sugar, 5 grams of salt. Making Italian dough is simple. Mix all the ingredients together except for the sugar and 10% of the flour. Ideally, you shouldn't add the salt and sugar together, but I'm in a hurry, so I did. We add sugar to the dough to make the crust golden and crispy. Also, the water should be cold so the dough does not ferment quickly if left out. Italian dough, unlike American dough, can stay in the fridge for just 1 day. For 500 grams of flour, you will get 750 grams of dough, which makes 3 30-centimeter pizzas. When adding flour, make sure to shift it first. Adding too much flour will make the dough tough. Add flour gradually until the dough comes together. I added the flour in stages, and when I used 90% of it, the dough came together. Knead the dough in the bowl with your hands. If it sticks to your hand, put a little oil on your hands and knead for 15 minutes. If the dough sticks to your hands, it means it hasn't reached the right consistency yet. Try to avoid adding more flour and instead get rid of the thickness by kneading. Take the dough out of the bowl, sprinkle flour on your work surface and knead the dough for 10 minutes using the heel of your hand. To check if the dough is ready and does not need more kneading, shape the dough into a ball in your hand and then cut it in half with a knife. The surface of the dough should have small holes. Italian dough has fewer holes than American dough. Grease your bowl, put the dough in it, cover it with plastic wrap, and then place a towel over the wrap. Let the dough rest for an hour. After an hour, punch down the dough and take out 250 grams of it. Since my pan is 33 centimeters, I took 270 grams of dough. First, make sure to sprinkle flour on your work surface. Lightly oil your hands, shape the dough into a ball, then roll it out with a rolling pin. Transfer the dough to your pan. Lift the edges of the dough and then fold them back down to create a ring around the edges of the pan. Spread 2.5 tablespoons of the garlic sauce evenly over the surface of the dough. Then sprinkle 170 grams of pizza cheese over the sauce. Next, arrange 160 grams of steak slices on the top of the cheese. Place the steak slices close together because they will shrink and create gaps during baking. Fill the gaps with 50 grams of mushrooms. Mushrooms are optional, but don't place them on the top of the steaks. If you like, you can also add bell pepper pieces in the empty spaces between the steaks. After that, add rings of olives. You can use black olives if you prefer. Bake the pizza in a preheated oven at 235 centigrade for 10 to 12 minutes. And there you have it, an incredibly delicious garlic steak pizza. I hope you make it and enjoy it with your loved ones.